Have you ever felt guilty just for growing? Like the more your life moves forward, the more distance appears between you and the people you once felt closest to. Not because you betrayed them, not because you changed for the worse, but because growth quietly changes who you are. And sometimes, becoming who you are, meant to be, means leaving the version of life everyone expected from you. This is the story of that moment.
At 27, Daniel Rivera still lived in the small town in Ohio where he grew up. The same old streets, the familiar Friday night bar, the same group of friends from high school. On paper, everything was fine. He had a stable job at a local logistics company, decent pay, regular hours, friends who would show up at 2 a.m. if his car broke down in the middle of the road. But every Sunday night, when the house went quiet and the TV was turned off, Daniel felt something hard to name. Not sadness, but pressure, like his life was too small for his chest. It started very quietly. He woke up at 5:30 a.m. to learn coding online before work. At first, it was just curiosity, but the more he learned, the more he felt alive. While his friends talked about fantasy football or which bar had the cheapest happy hour, Daniel thought about user interfaces and back-end systems. He stopped laughing at the same old jokes, stopped complaining about the same repetitive things, stopped blaming the economy or bad luck. And that was when everything began to change. "You've been different lately," Marcus, a close friend since 7th grade, said as they sat in their usual corner at Rusty's bar. "Different how?" Daniel asked. Marcus smiled slightly. "You come out less. You're always busy. I guess you're planning something big." Daniel didn't dodge it this time. "Yeah," he nodded. "I'm studying more. I want to transition into tech. I don't think I want to stay here forever. I want to see how far I can go." Marcus was silent for a few seconds. "How far?" he repeated, half joking, half serious. "Me? I just hope for stability. A steady job, a house, weekends seeing the guys like this. That's enough for me." Daniel looked around the bar, the familiar faces, the familiar laughter. "Maybe for me, it's not enough." Marcus didn't argue. He just shook his head slightly with a faint smile. "I don't fully understand the things you're chasing, but I'm just afraid you'll burn yourself out. It's not so bad here." "It's not bad," Daniel said. "It's just, I feel like I can do more than this." They both fell silent. No argument, no tension. Just two friends sitting at the same table, but looking in two different directions. That night, Daniel lay staring at the ceiling for a long time. Not because anyone said anything to hurt him, but because he understood. Not everyone craves more, and not everyone is wrong for choosing ease. But if he stayed just because he was afraid of being different, he would be betraying himself. And for the first time, the distance was no longer a vague feeling. It had a shape.
Months passed. Daniel did small projects after work. Websites, simple apps. Quietly, he applied for remote tech jobs. Then one afternoon, he received an email. Subject: offer letter. The salary was nearly double his current one. A remote position. Full benefits. His hands shook. He should have been happy. But his first thought was, how am I going to tell them? That Friday night, Daniel told the group that he had accepted a new job. working remotely first, then maybe moving away later. The whole table paused for a beat. No one reacted strongly. No one over-congratulated him. Just a few nods, a few short questions about the timing, the pay, the city. Marcus looked at him longer than usual, not with annoyance, just trying to imagine a different reality. Daniel realized it. The word yet, not moved yet, not left town yet, hung between them. It was like a buffer, as if everyone understood that yet was only temporary. The conversation continued after that. They talked about the weekend football game, about Marcus's new boss, about the car someone was thinking of buying. Everything looked the same, but Daniel knew. From that night on, he no longer fully belonged to this table. No one blamed him. No one held him back. It was just that in their eyes, he had become the person who was about to leave. And the distance didn't appear through words. It appeared through the silent acknowledgement that each person's path ahead was no longer parallel. The invitations began to thin out. The group chat went silent when he spoke. One night, he drove past Rusty's and saw their cars parked out front. No one had texted him. He sat in his car for 5 minutes. He could walk in, pretend to be normal, shrink himself just enough to fit in, or he could drive home. That night, he drove home. And for the first time, the loneliness hit him. It wasn't loud. It was quiet. The kind of feeling that sits on your chest and whispers, "You are on your own now." A month after starting the new job, Daniel had more money than ever before, but fewer people to call. Success didn't feel like fireworks. It felt like silence. He wondered, is growth worth the trade-off of isolation? One night, he saw a photo of the group at a lakeside cabin. Caption, "Same crew. Nothing changes. Nothing changes." And that was exactly the point. Nothing changes if you don't change. He sat in the dark and spoke the truth. I can't go back. Not because he was better, not because they were less, but because he had seen a more vivid version of himself. And once you have seen that version, you cannot pretend you never did. The awakening wasn't loud, just a quiet understanding. Outgrowing someone doesn't mean you stop loving them. It just means your path requires different terrain. Not everyone goes through the whole book with you. Some people are just a chapter. A few months later, Daniel moved to Austin, a new city. No existing friends, no history. Terrifying. But he met people who talked about ideas the way he used to think about them alone. People who challenged him, inspired him. The loneliness was no longer suffocating. It became open, like a long road. If you're in that stage, if your circle is shrinking, if conversations become heavy, if staying feels safe but suffocating, you are not broken. You are expanding. And expansion is always silent before it becomes clear. Growth is always lonely before it becomes the new normal. The road ahead might not have familiar faces, but it has space. And sometimes, space is exactly what you need to become yourself. If this story touched your heart, subscribe for more lessons on growth, and share your own journey in the comments below.